Dragon Blox has a ton of different weapons you can unlock in this game, which is why today I'm going to go over every single weapon you can unlock inside of Dragon Blox. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to start from the bottom of the list and make our way up when we get to the better weapons later in the video, but let's start with the worst weapon in the entire game, also the easiest weapon in the entire game to get, and that is going to be the Trunks sword. I'm going to show you the ability before we actually teach you guys how to get this weapon. All it is Trunks' honor. There we go. You kind of teleport to them and just do a big old slash. It's pretty useful if you don't have another weapon. This one is super easy to get. Let's teach you how to get it. So the first thing you want to do is just get 500 silver zenny. This can be done easily just by doing a couple of different quests on the quest board, and then just head over to this guy right here, the weapon store owner, and just buy it here. Now, unlike a lot of these other weapons on this list, this is the only way to actually get the Trunks sword. You can't get it any other way, so you just buy it right here. Let's move on to the next weapon. Okay, so next on our list is going to be the laser sword. Now, the laser sword is the first sword that actually gives you the ability to have two different abilities instead of just one, which is really cool. But before we get into that and discuss and showcase all the abilities and stuff, I just want to quickly teach you guys how to actually unlock the second ability, because it can be a little bit confusing. So what you need to do is just go to your menu, just come across to your inventory, click on the sword, and then just click on the open skills menu here, and there you go. You can just unlock it from here. Now down here you'll just need some skill points to do that. It's very easy to actually unlock it, super simple, and that goes for the same with any other weapon that has multiple abilities. Okay, so I'm going to showcase the abilities. This is the first one, the edge laser. It just fires a beam from distance and does a bit of damage. It's pretty good, it's okay. The next one is the laser ripper, which will fire a massive kind of like barrage attack. It's similar to like a wave, like an energy wave or something like that. Again, pretty solid. Okay, so you unlock this weapon, pretty simple as well. This is kind of similar to the other one. You can just unlock it from the weapon store, the laser sword, for 1,500 zenny. Pretty simple. Like, it's pretty easy to unlock, pretty good too. Okay, so the next sword is the Crimson Sword. Now, this is where it gets like a little bit tricky to unlock things, because this is where it becomes a little bit pay to win, but you can still do it normally outside of paying for it. But let's talk about the abilities first. So this sword is considered to be probably the PvP sword of the game. Everyone uses it for PvP if you're really good. The first ability is called Possessing Illumination, and it's pretty solid. It spawns a ghost, which can be used like to kind of trick your opponent into targeting that one. It can be really annoying with like trying to auto lock your opponent. It's an okay ability. It is definitely like a high skill move though, so you will take some time to get used to it. The next one is a close range attack called the Devil's Way. Pretty much you get close, does a big old slash attack. Pretty cool, pretty good. Again, the next one is kind of a close range AoE attack. It's called Devil's Crash. Has a bit more range to it, but is pretty cool as well. Someone's like a big cloud, which can be used as well to kind of hide away from your opponent. Again, this is definitely the PvP sword of the bunch. Okay, so the first way to get it is by paying for it with Robux. Now, I'm just going to go over this because I feel like it should be stated. You can buy this for 350 Robux from the store. Now, I don't really recommend you do that because it's kind of a rip-off in my opinion. The next way you can unlock this is pretty simple. You go over to the spin menu over here, and you can actually spin for it like this. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to get it. It is pretty rare to get. If you go here, you have a 2% chance of actually getting it from spin, but honestly, if you play it enough, like, you'll get enough spins, and it's not too bad. You can obviously buy it as well. It's really cheap to buy off other players to trade for, because it's not that wanted in the market, so it's pretty cheap. Okay, so if you're wondering how much this is actually worth by like buying it off another player or trading with another player for it, don't spend any more than 300 to 400 gold zenny for it, just purely because it's not worth anymore. Unless it has really good stats like crit chance or crit damage, then it might be worth a bit more. Okay, so the next weapon we have is the energy spear. Now, the energy spear is really, really cool. It's very underused and kind of for a reason, but we'll get into that in a minute. So I'm going to show you the abilities. The first one is the blasting spear ability. Like, there you go. Pretty cool. Like, does a bit of damage. Not bad. The next one is the multiple thrust. It is a close range ability, but it's pretty solid. It's not bad. The next one is the spear overlord, or overload, sorry, should I say. Again, pretty cool. not bad. Now, the reason the spear is very underused is because of the abilities mostly. They take a really long time to actually activate. Like, you can see if I'm using, like, if I go across to the first ability, like, I can't move while this animation is happening, hence why, like, a lot of people don't like using it, because, like, it's just wasted time. Again, with all the other abilities as well, like, unless I'm actually hitting my opponent, I can't move with that ability, and same with the last one as well, can't move while it's being used. Hence why not a lot of people like this weapon. Right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is how to get it. Now, again, I'm just going to state this. You can buy it for 350 Robux. Yeah, you can buy it from the store. The next way to get it is very simple. It is also a weapon you can gain by spinning. However, it is a lot rarer, considering it is not 2%. It is a 0.28% chance. So you have, like, yeah, pretty bad odds to actually get this weapon. Now, lastly, you can also trade with other players for this item again. Now, I'm going to recommend that you only spend 300 to 400 gold, same as the Crimson Sword, unless it has really good stats. Do not spend any more than 300 to 400 gold on this weapon, purely because it's not that good, to be honest. Okay, so the next two weapons are actually event items. Now, I'm not really going to go over the abilities for these, because I know a lot of people aren't going to actually have them, so I'm not even going to really bother. Now, these are event items, but you can still get them in the game. There are two ways to get them. You can trade for them, or you can go and get them from the spin wheel. But once again, very, very low chance you're actually going to get these from the spin wheel. So, good luck. Now, because these are event items, not a lot of people actually sell them. Not a lot of people want to sell them either. So, these prices can range, like, realistically, they're not even really worth buying. Like, I would only buy them for, like, 300 to 500 gold, maybe. But no one's really going to sell you that, because they just don't want to give them to you, because they're event items. They're super rare, even though they're not really worth that much, because they kind of suck. But yeah, that's it. That's how you get the two event items, the Great Sword and the Candy Cane Sword. Moving on. Okay, so moving on to an item that you can actually get from a boss is the Energy Blade. Now, the Energy Blade is a pretty cool item. I'm going to teach you how to get it, but before we do that, let's show the abilities. Well, I should say ability, because there's only one actual ability for this. It's called Energy Slashes. It's pretty similar to the Laser Sword, except it hits multiple times, so it's just better. But I'll show you how to get it. Okay, so the way to actually get this sword is to come over to this city right here, find Mr. Black Carrot, and just absolutely kill him. He drops it at a 1% chance, so it is pretty rare to actually get this item. But if you do manage to kill him and get the item, you're pretty lucky, which, speaking of which, I might have actually just gone... Oh, okay. That was extremely lucky. Okay, so I got the item. You can get it from this guy. Very simple, as you can clearly see. Now, if you do not want to farm a 1% drop chance item, I completely agree with you. That's absolutely annoying. You can also buy this item off other players for 100 gold zenny is what I recommend you buy it for. Anywhere from like 100 to 200 gold zenny, I think, is a pretty fair price. Also, this item... Probably 1 million people have it because it's really, really easy to get. And people just happen to get it while they're farming the boss. So I would definitely recommend just trying to ask people to buy it if you don't want to go around and farm it yourself. Otherwise, you can do that. Okay, so this next weapon is also a drop from a boss, which is very nice because not a lot of these weapons actually are. And that's going to be the Power Pole. Now, the Power Pole is a 1% drop chance from the Great Droid himself. Now, this raid is a requirement of level 250, which means if you're not halfway there to being max level, I'm sorry, you can't get this item unless you buy it off another player. Now, if you do want to buy it off another player, it's going to cost you about 1,000 gold for a fresh one. If you want it with extra stats and all that stuff like that, it's going to cost you a lot more. So, I would recommend just buying a fresh one if you really, really want to get this item, because it is really, really good. This item is arguably one of the best items in the game, probably arguably the best weapon in the game as well. You could easily, like, you can see why. Like, it summons a clone of you that attacks a boss, like, with one of your abilities. It's really cool, and it's really overpowered. So, I do recommend you get your hands on this. I should also state that you can get this weapon from the spin wheel as well, unlike the energy blade we were speaking about before. You can't get that weapon from the spin wheel. You can get the power pole, however, but it is a 0.28% chance, making it... almost impossible to actually get it from the spin wheel, so good luck. Okay, so the last weapon that we have for today is going to be the Energy Scythe, and probably one of the most desirable weapons in the entire game. Now, there are 3 ways you can actually get this weapon. We're going to go over that really quickly, but let's first discuss the actual abilities. The first ability is the Scythe Assault. Now, this ability is really cool. You pretty much have this like dome and you just attack like a million times. You can't move while this is happening, but it is really good for farming bosses because it does an ungodly amount of damage. The next one is Dimensional Slash. Again, this is a really cool move. It does a lot of damage. It hits multiple times. Very, very cool. Okay, so the next one is Dimensional Explosion. Now, it does take a little bit, it has like a bit of like a long time for this one to actually charge up, but it does a lot of damage, so it's pretty cool. The Energy Scythe is really good. Okay, so the first way you can get this is the weapon store. Of course, I'm going to go over this. 550 Robux, making it the most expensive weapon to buy in the entire game. Probably for pretty good reason. It is a really good weapon. The next way to get it without Robux is obviously the Mr. Spin Wheel. You can get it at an absolute whopping 0.28% chance. Good luck and have fun doing that. And the last way to get it is buying it off another player. It's going to cost you about 1,500 to 2,000 gold, depending on the player. A lot of people don't like to give away these for very cheap. A lot of people overprice them as well. Look, it's probably not worth 1,500 to 2,000 gold, but people will try to sell you it for that much because that's just how they like to do it. And considering you can't get this weapon outside of actually buying it with Robux, it's kind of fair enough that it is priced that high. So, good luck, my friends. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.